Hello and welcome to your 8th C++ lesson. This one is on functions. Alright, so functions are really useful. Basically, they are bits of code which you can execute again and again and again without having to type it again and again and again. And they're much more useful than that, but you'll see. So, it's just our include, so iostream, namespace standard. I'm just going to leave a big gap there because stuff will be going there in a minute. Int main, return 0, system, pause. Alright, so, at the moment this does nothing, as you probably know, but we want to use a function. So, right up here, before int main, what we're going to do is we're going to go void. Actually no, let's just say int for now, just so I don't confuse you. We'll move on to voids a bit later on in the lesson. So int function1, and then we're going to open and close these brackets, open, close. So it looks a lot like this at the moment, yeah? We got this is int main, this is int function1. Int main is pretty much, oh, hang on, let me just sign out of Emerson. There we go, here we go. Int main is pretty much just a function which C++ starts at. So int main, just empty brackets, notice, and then open, close, and then we have some stuff in it. So function1 is pretty much the same. We haven't got anything in it yet. So let's just go cout. This is function1 and L. So this is our function, just for now. Thing is, it's an int. Now ints have to return integers, and that is why you declare them int. So int main has to return 0, and int function1 has to return a number. So for now, we are just going to return 0. So this is function1, return 0. And to call this function from main, so main's going to go system pause return 0, and it's not going to have anything to do with function1, so we need to go, hey, function1, execute your stuff. So to do this, we just go function1, and for now we can just go empty brackets and then a semicolon. So save that and debug, and just wait, and here we go. This is function1, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Press any key to continue, and there we go. That is the basics of functions. Now the thing is, you could do a lot more than this. There's so much, I'm not even sure where to start. So let's start with different types. So we have int function1. We can also have void function1, which means it doesn't return anything, so it'd be like that. We can have char function1, which will return char, so we can say return C. And we'll come on to what this return bit actually kind of means in a minute. So we've got char, you know, we could do float or double, and then return floats or doubles. And that is pretty much how you can be so versatile with functions, and you'll see why this is so amazing in a minute when we actually move on to return values. Actually, let's do return values now. So let's just make it back to an int for a sec. So this is function1. If we wanted basically the function to give our main function a number, we can make it return a number. So if we wanted it to give the main function 5, we'd say return 5. And then what this can do, if we said cout function1, you don't need the semicolon because you're not ending a line. So cout function1, and function1 returns 0, so it's basically cout 5. So I'll just debug this. This is function1, 5. There you go. Because basically, it's told to output the right. Cout, it goes to function1. Function1 goes, this is function1, and then gives it 5. So it goes, this is function1, end line, and then it gives it 5. So it outputs 5. That's why it says this is function1, and then 5. And that is return values. Obviously, you can do the same thing with a char, or a double, or a float, or a string. Actually, I haven't tried string, I'm not sure if you can do string. And that is pretty much that. Apart from one of the biggest things ever, parameters and arguments. So if we're just saying int function1, it might get a bit confusing. We're just gonna go int num1, just in these brackets, int num2. So in the brackets, we've got int num1, almost like we're making an integer num1, comma, our second one, int num2. And basically, this means when you call the function, we want the user to specify num1 and num2. So when we're calling the function down here, if I just go back to how it was, in these little brackets, I can say 12 is num1 and 99 is num2. And then we could say, for example, cout num1 plus num2. So if we did this now, 12 and 99 added together is 111. And basically, that is the power of functions, the arguments or the parameters. And they're just so useful. I am going to come up with some crazy example. I'm really not sure what yet, but I'll come up with something. Basically, what this does is it goes, right, int main. We're making a new variable called input1, and we're making another variable called input2. And these are both integers. Then we're accepting the input for input1 and accepting the input for input2. So we now have two values. Then it goes cout both numbers added equals, and then it basically calls function1 with input1 and input2. So we'll come up here, function1 num1 num2. So input1 is equal to num1 now, and input2 is equal to num2, and this returns num1 plus num2. So it's going to give this thing right here, where we're calling it, it's going to give it whatever num1 plus num2 is. And then it's going to, because it's in a cout statement, it's going to output it, and then system pause return 0. So we'll just debug it. Our input1 or num1, so 72, 12, no 15, 72 and 15, both numbers added equal 87. And that is the power of functions. So basically, have a go with functions, make lots of programs with functions, use all the stuff we've learned before this, math stuff, you know, everything we've covered, and do stuff with functions. It's great. So that's the end of this lesson. Have a nice day.